My sick music here. Oh, yeah. Alright, and this is gonna be the first semi-final match of the TrackMania Open Fullspeed tournament sponsored by Linecast. It is gonna be a banger, like a real banger, coming on here onto your displays. We have Div from Switzerland for Team AGN holding up the flag here. Then we have Areo, the German powerhouse with no team. We have Rexine from North America from the US&A for Team Aurora Racing. And then we have Kid, one of the fastest and most known full speed drivers out there from Baguetteland, France, who has been performing outstandingly in his previous matches. So this is gonna be the place to be today, tonight, right here, right now. So we're gonna see three maps with 4 rounds each. The point limit is gonna be 141 with finalist mode, of course. So this is gonna be insane. So you guys can, of course, vote for your favorite player here in this match, who is going to move on into the finals. We're gonna have 2 players, of course, moving on to the finals, which are gonna be played on next Sunday. And the flop 2 will obviously get knocked out. So the warm-up is over. We're gonna start it off on the Paradox, featuring Hunter, a map by Firefox, a duo track, Firefox and Hunter. And we are gonna go live here, GLHF, and here we go off with a booster start. Gonna have 4 rounds, as I said, and we are gonna kick it off with the first semi-final here. Everybody is off to a good start. Kid actually going for some very tight lines, puts himself up to first place right now. Div on second, Areo on third. We see some slightly different lines here, very wide and long as these here. At the front we have Div and Kid battling it out here. We have Rexine dropping down in speed quite a bit, so she is going to be on last place. Let's have a look at the front. We have Div and Kid, only 300s apart from each other, going into the long wall, going down. Div actually with a little bit more speed. He is going to come a little bit closer, but it's not enough to pass him yet. It is not enough to pass, and Div will go too tight, will fall down the platform, and that is going to be an easy round here for Kid, as Div is doing a big mistake there. So Kid will clock it in here. We have the TrackMania 1 time of 1:04.95 by Mada, of course. And Kid will clock it in here with a 1:05.66, Areo on second, and those are going to be the only 2 finishers in this round, as we have Div and Rexine both getting a DNF. Off to the next round we go. So the first place will receive 10 points, then it's going to be 6 for second, 4 for third, and 3 for fourth. That is going to be the point distribution for this tournament. As we go on to round number 2, this time it is Kid once again here on first place, goes for a very wide approach, trying to get as much speed as possible out of that SD, and it is worth. And also Div is going for it and actually does not SD that turn. Wow, we see 2 completely different lines there. Kid has done a longer and much earlier SD, while Div was no-sliding the first half of the turn and then proceeded into a speed drift. And apparently it did pay off, so we see the Swiss player currently in first place. We have Div 1600s ahead of Kid, who is on second place. Then we have Areo on third, and also Rexine is currently battling it out here for third place. Areo going very wide. That might be Rexine's advantage here. Yes, she will go up to third place here. This is the battle for third place, but oh, Areo, as I switched to him, he is actually doing a mistake. So this is going to be the battle for first place. Div actually might go for it. He might have a little bit more speed going into the turnover, into the finish, and it's 200ths of a second in this round. That was a great round. Div will take the 10 pointer here in front of Kid and Rexine. Poggers. Round number 3. Sick. So we have 16 points for Kid, 10 for Div, 6 for Areo, and 4 for Rexine. And we have Div off to a very decent start here, goes up to first place with quite a big margin, but there's still 2 people right behind him. Kid is actually going for an alternate line, and it might actually be a little bit faster. Yep, Kid will go up to first place. Rexine going with a lot of speed past the German player. Rexine up to third place. Areo will drop down to last. And Rexine is actually doing pretty good. I have no head... Oh, never mind. I do have a hotkey. Rexine is doing pretty well here, trying to catch up to Div and Kid. Oh, Kid actually with a little bit of a speed disadvantage, and Rexine will go up to second place. These points are going to be important for her. So Div still on first place with a pretty comfortable lead here, 1900s as we go into the finish sector. I don't think Kid is going to come closer. Nope. So we have Div with a 105.65, followed by Rexine 0.81, Kid with a 97, and Areo with a 106.53. Everybody finishing, and we have a two-man tie for first place between Div and Kid. Then it's Rexine at 10 and Areo at 9 as we go into round number 4, the final one on this track, and then we will switch the tracks. Very, very different line choice here. Once again, this time it is Div, Rexine, and Kid. Oh, Kid going for a full slide. That was really not that great by the player for Team Against All Authority. So Kid will drop down to dead last, loses a lot of speed. So we're gonna switch the camera to the leading players, which are gonna be Div and Rexine. 1700ths of a second between the two players, looking pretty good for AG and Div as of now. Oh, Areo actually with a lot of speed passing Rexine, going up to second place. Oh, Rexine also getting a little bit of a bump there at the exit of the wall, so that will cost a little bit of extra speed there, but she's still going to be able to finish this round on third place. Some more important points here. Div with a very good time, 105.51. That is just barely half a second behind the TrackMania 1 time. So Div will go up to first place in total. 30 points for the Swiss player, 23 for Kid, 15 for Areo, and 14 for Rexine. The next one is gonna be TMO competition featuring Hunter. So Hunter has actually collaborated with a lot of people to build the maps for this tournament. So it's another duo map with Hunter being involved, the German player who unfortunately had to drop out of the tournament due to health issues, I think 2 or 1 round ago. So he was definitely a contender for the final. Unfortunately, he had to drop out, so Hunter will still be remembered here with his map. So it's going to be a map with Hailwind. TrackMania 1 is a 1 minute, 0.85, and hey, once again, it's my mother. So let's have a look here at this track. We have Div having the fastest TrackMania 1, the TrackMania time in this matchup with a 101.25, actually 4/10 of a second behind Mada, which is actually fucking incredible. Then we have Kid, who has the second fastest time, Areo third, and Rexine with the slowest time out of all, but that doesn't really mean anything. I mean, of course it does in to some extent, but it's still mostly about being consistent on tracks like this. Alright, so the warm-up will be ending in 10 seconds, and then we go back into the live rounds. 4 rounds on this track once again, as we have Wouter with a couple of bits. Thank you very much. 100 sexy smexy pics. Bits. Alright, here we go. Round numero uno. Precision-based starter. Then we go into the first sets of SDs. We have Rexine actually on first place. Rexine doing very good here. But she is being followed by Div and Kid, who are actually overtaking her. Areo losing some speed here. Rexine will stay on third. At the front, it is the battle between Kid and Div. Once again, they are definitely driving faster times than the other two people. And Div is coming closer. Div is coming closer. He is having a little bit of a speed advantage here. But right now it is not enough to overtake the Frenchman. But he is still coming closer. Only 400ths of a second. This can still change as we go into the last 10 seconds of the track. Kid actually with an oversteer at the loop exit. And Div is going to take advantage from that. Div going up to first place. And now Div is going to take it. So what a turn of events in the last 10 seconds of the track. And Div with another really important 10 pointer here. 40 points for him. Kid going down to 29. And then we have a tie for third place. Rexine and Areo both at 18 points. Oh! Böser Unfall. Big mistake by Areo. And that will be an early DNF here for the German player. And he will not be able to gather any points. So this is potentially the chance for Rexine to clock in some important points. Let's see. Right now, she is on third place, 2400s behind already. We have the two madmen battling it out here. Kid and Div literally inside of each other. 5,000ths of a second between those two. This is actually amazing to watch. This battle is gonna be amazing up until the end. Oh, Kid having the upper hand here. He goes for a tighter line and goes for the speed as well. So Div right now with the disadvantage, 800 of a second. And I think Kid is actually going to take it as he goes for a flatter approach. Oh, Div is actually coming closer, but it's not enough. Kid was actually going into the turnover a little bit earlier. A little bit flatter, but luckily Div was too far behind. Of course, from a standpoint of Kid, so he will take the 10-pointer and come a little bit closer to Div in total standing. So 46 for Div, 39 for Kid, 22 for Rexine, and 18 for Areo. Round number 3. Areo having quite a slow start here in comparison to the other players. He will find himself on last place as of now. Let's have a look at Rexine, who is on second place, and she is actually coming closer with a completely different line than Div. I'm not sure if that was actually intended by the Swiss player, but he is losing a little bit of ground there. So Div is being followed in a hot pursuit by AR Rexine. Only 700ths of a second, and Rexine actually with a slightly better SD as far as I could see. No, it was actually kind of the same there. So the disadvantage... Oh, Kid actually with the DNF. I have completely missed out on that. Kid actually getting the DNF and Div with the 10-pointer. So the gap will increase by 10 points between first and second place. So Kid, not sure what happened to him, but he should definitely make sure not to get this DNFs, because those are really costly. Round number 4, ladies and gentlemen, on this track. Let's have a look. The final chance for the players to perform on this track. And then it's going to be a while until we come back to this. Areo once again struggling in the start. The German player isn't really getting onto the best speed here in the first 30 seconds of the track. So he is on last place again. So we see the same kind of positioning here. Rexine always on third. And then we have the battle for first place between Div and Kid. So let's have a look at these two drivers. Right now, it is Div once again having the upper hand, and if he gets another 10-pointer, this will actually start to be a little bit crunchy for Kid, because he's going to keep losing points, and the gap will increase to 21 points. If Div actually finishes, and Kid almost throws himself off the track right at the exit of the last wall, but he's still able to keep himself on the track there. That was pretty Monka-esque there, but Div will extend his lead. The Swiss player for Team AGN will go up to 66 points, and he is just completely dominating Kid, Rexine, and Areo all at the same time. So Kid is at 45, then we have a 17-point gap down to Rexine, who is at 28, and then Areo still at 26. And the third map will be Tight Fit by Rexine herself. So the mapper is actually driving here. One could assume it's rigged, but it's not. So let's have a look at the track here. As we go into the warm-up, TrackMania 1 is a 54.93 by... Hey! Who would have guessed? So let's spectate Kid here. Ooh, that's a spicy nosedive right there. Boy. Up the magnet. Oh, more magnets. Alright, very interesting track. And Kid actually with a pretty solid time here. 55.20. which is actually pretty fast considering the TrackMania 1 times. So, very good time by Kid in the warm-up. Alright, so here we go. TMO Tight Fit, the third track in the first semi-final between Div, Kid, Rexine, and Areo. Here we go. Another precision-based start here. Everybody is very, very close to each other. That is actually amazing to see so far. But now this is where the lines are gonna differ between all of the 4 players. At the front once again, Div against Kid. Areo trying to come back here. Does not really manage that so far. Going into the wall. Areo on 3rd and Rexine on 4th place right now. Everybody getting the nosedive. I think Areo got it pretty nicely there, but he is not able to catch up there too much. So Areo still on 3rd place at the front. It is the battle between Kid and Div. Still going up the magnet. Everybody at the same speed. Kid actually messing up to land in an SD. Will Div take advantage from that? No, he will not. So Kid with a 55.24, a 0.30 by Div, a 0.50 by Areo, and a 59 by Rexine. So everybody was like within 0.3 of a second. So everybody was doing very well in this round. Well done by all of the players as we go into round number 2. Oh, we see Areo going super wide in the beginning. He completely messed up that start. So he will be dead last. And I think on this track it is actually going to be pretty difficult to come back from this sort of disadvantage. So let's have a look at the front. This time it is Rexine actually battling it out here for first place. With against all authority Kid. And Kid is actually extending his lead. Everybody getting the nosedive nicely as we go into this part. Where's Div? Div is on 3rd. Let's have a look if he is maybe able to catch up to Rexine. But that doesn't really look like it. Nope. Oh, Rexine actually going very wide, but Div is not going to come closer. So this will be an important 10-pointer for Kid, who goes up to 65 points. Still 11 points behind Div, but it is important to come back. So Div is at 76 points, Kid at 65, Rexine at 37 already. So Rexine and Areo are losing points, and we have an early mistake by Kid here, ladies and gentlemen. Kid actually touching the wall on the inside very, very early on the track. And also Div with a Mistako. So it is going to be 2 DNFs very early in this round. So it is going to be Areo and Rexine going to go for the big boy points here. So let's see if they are going to be able to handle the pressure here of actually being on the top 2 positions. This could have been the chance for Div to increase the gap down to Kid by another 10 points. But instead, he just decided to hug the wall. So we have Areo finishing with a good time of 55.38, Rexine with 71. So these are going to be some very, very important points for the follow-up players. 43 for Areo and Rexine at the same time. The top 2 positions will remain the same, with 76 for Div and 65 for Kid. Last round coming up here on TMO Tight Fit, and then we will go back to the first map we've seen in this match. The map rotation is going to be between the 3 maps we have seen today. Oh, and this time it is actually a very, very tight battle here. Only Div has been able to get himself into a slight lead, but Kid is still close by, and he is coming closer. Kid is coming closer, and he is gonna pass Div. No, never mind. He's not gonna pass Div. Now he's gonna pass Div. But this is neck and neck. This is 4,000ths of a second. This is a battle we have to look on. Kid is actually going up to first place, going into the last magnet. And he will go up to first place and gets that 10-pointer. Just 300ths of a second. Boy, boy, boy. And we go back to the Paradox by Firefox and Hunter. 82 points for Div. He actually lost a little bit of his lead, a little bit of his gap to Kid. So Kid is up to 75 points. According to my math, that is only 7 points behind. And then there's already 28 points down to third place. So Areo and Rexine might need a miracle and a half to come back from that big of a point disadvantage. Of course, it is not over yet, but the more points they lose, the more difficult it will be to come back from this. Alright, let's go. Let's kick it off here. This might be the map where we're gonna see the first 3-digit point score. So let's see if that's gonna happen. Here we go. Off we go with 4 fresh out of the microwave rounds on this track. And Rexine is off to a good start, puts herself on first place. That was really solid by the American player, but there's Areo going for a very inside line. Might actually lack a little bit of speed. Yes, indeed. Areo will drop down to last place. And there we have Div with his signature line, and it is so much better than the lines from the other people, actually. So Div is doing the no slide and then proceeds into an SD in the second half of the turn. So it seems to be the much superior line here, and that will put Div in a very good advantage here on this track as he goes up to first place. It is actually Kid. Where is Kid? Kid is on last place and Div on first. So this is exactly what the Swiss player wants to see. So Kid is actually more than a tenth behind third place, and we are approaching the last 10 seconds of the track. Rexine on second place, also going to be really important points for her. Oh, Kid is actually going up to third place. Areo messing up the end here. So Kid will go up to third place and will clock in at least 4 points, making the best out of the misery. So Div with another 10 pointer, 92 for him already. 92 points. Followed by Kid at 79, 50 points for Areo, and 49 for Rexine, who will drop down to last place. Or, well, she was there. Never mind. Alright, next round, boys. And this time it is Kid having the upper hand. But let us actually have a look at Div, who is going for that different line. And I think he has a little bit more speed. Yeah, there you go. A little bit more speed here for Div. And this is actually translating into even more speed. So this is going to be the 2-man battle for first place once again. It is going to be Kid against Div. This is very, very close. Look at this. But Div actually with the upper hand here gets a little bit more speed out of the speed drift. Oh, that was maybe not that optimal. This is going to be Kid's chance to come back. Kid is going up to first place. Where's Div? Div is on second place, going into the last SD. Div might come a little closer here, but it's not going to be enough. Div with the upper hand. No, it's not going to be enough for him. And Kid will remain on first place. And these are going to be 10 really good points for him. Great race at the top. Boy, 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 boy. Round number 3, ladies and gentlemen. This is a really, really intense match so far. Div this time with the best start. Followed by Kid, Areo, and Rexine on last place. Kid going very wide. That is actually gonna be pretty bad for him, as he's gonna drop down to third place. Areo will take advantage from that and will go up to second place. Whereas Rexine, oh, Rexine actually 2.3 seconds behind. That will unfortunately be the DNF for her, as we have a 2-second finalist, 2-second finish timeout after the first player crosses the finish line. And the first player right now is Div, who is on a banger of a time. He is half a second ahead of everyone. Div is completely demolishing everyone, as we have Areo going for a very unfortunate mistake. Turns into early, hits the wall, and that could have been the chance for him to get himself up to third place in total. Instead, it is going to be Div taking first place with a nice time of 105.34. Kid on second place. And as I said, we have the first player with a 3-digit score. 108 points for Div, followed by Kid, 95. And then we still have the tie for third place between Rexine and Areo. They both have performed pretty much the same, with some DNFs here and there, with some second, third places here and there. So all of them are going to end up with the same points right now. Areo this time, however, getting the full slide there, similar to what Kid has done in one of the previous rounds. So Areo will drop to, to last place. Oh, Kid, he can be lucky that that didn't go worse. But also Div is actually slowing down in speed a little bit. I'm not sure what happened to both of them. But yeah, as I said, that could have gone very worse for Kid. So he can be lucky that he's still on the track. He is coming a little bit closer here to Div. So let's see if that's going to make a difference here towards the end of the track. Oh, Kid is actually clipping the inside of that block. And this was a very lucky round. He clipped 2 edges and he didn't fly out. So Kid can be lucky that he finished this one. So he will go up to third place. Rexine got the second one. Second place for Rexine. So gonna be some good points for her. And then we have Div at 118 points. So maybe we're gonna see Div going up to finalist mode. We have a point limit of 141. So mathematically, it is possible that Div goes up to finalist mode if he just goes complete bonkers on this track. Team O competition by Hunter. So let's see if that's gonna happen. But he finds himself in a very comfortable position already, as he is 19 points ahead of his direct opponent Kid. And now at this point, it is actually looking pretty good for Div and Kid, as they both are like 50 points ahead of Rexine and Areo. So yeah, chances for a comeback are getting very slim. Alright, the warm-up is ending, and then we go live back to this track. And here we go, off we go with round number 1. Everybody passing the start here. Div is doing it the best and will go up to first place, but there's Kid right next to him, and both are having pretty much the equal speed. So those speed slides were very similar to each other, but it is Div actually going for a slightly different approach. Not sure if it's going to be paying off for him, as we have Kid actually in front of him so far. So this is the battle for first place. At the back we have Areo on 4th and Rexine on 3rd. But this is what we have to look at, ladies and gentlemen. This is so close, only 15 thousandths of a second, and Kid is actually coming closer. This is super close here between Div and Kid. Oh, Div actually going for a little bit of a tighter line. Not sure if that's going to be good for his speed, as he drops down already 10 hundredths behind. This is looking pretty good for Kid as he goes into the finish line, and he will finish with a 101.39. Very good time there by Kid. Div on second with a 101.58. Let's have a look at Areo. He is currently in last place in a direct battle with Rexine, who is currently 7 points ahead of Areo. Oh, we see Kid actually with very, very low speed. Kid dropping down to last place. And this is exactly what Div needs. Once again, Div in a super comfortable position. He is already 4,400s ahead of his opponent players. So this is the round to lose for Div. He can pretty much take it safely here at this point already, because chances to catch up a half a second gap, half a second difference or disadvantage is very, very slim. So Div most likely gonna take the 10 pointer here. Rexine with some important points here, possibly coming towards her bank account. And Div with a 101.45. That is a good time by him. And he goes up to 134 points as we go into round number 3. So he needs a 10 pointer in the next round, and he will be finalist already. Believe it or not, but Div is actually going for it. So let's have a look at him. He probably knows that he needs those 10 points. I mean, he could, of course, take it safe and just finish the upcoming 2 rounds, and then he will also be finalist. But I'm pretty sure Div wants to make it as quick as possible. Right now, he is in second place. Kid with a very nice run here so far on first. Some different lines here, and I think Div is actually gonna come closer, and fuck yeah, he is. Holy moly, Div is coming closer after Kid has done a mistake, and Div is going up to first place, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly what I was predicting. Kid is going up to... No, Div is going up to first place, and it is going to be the 10 pointer here, as he's already 2,800s ahead, and he will go up to finalist mode. Div completely destroying every single one of the players on this server. Finalist mode, and the first finalist round for him. Oh, Kid asking for a break. Will Div take this one in his first finalist attempt, or will he actually get beaten? I mean, there is Kid, who can very well beat him on this track. It is possible. So, hopefully, Kid will recover from his asthma stroke. And then we will proceed. So here we see AGN Div from Switzerland, who has performed amazingly in the TrackMania Open tournament so far. And he is about to secure himself a spot in the grand finals next week. Will he make it? I mean, he has a lot of finalist attempts until Kid is going to move up to finalist status. Point limit is still 141. I mean, pauses like this are always, you know, can be seen from 2 sides. Of course, on the one side, it is good to have a little break to, you know, collect your mindset again, to just relax a little bit from the match. On the other hand, there's also that risk that you just completely lose your focus, that you're just not able to find yourself back to match performance, match, you know, match mindset. So that is always the risk when you have a pause or some whatever going on in between the match. Then there's always that risk that it will fuck up your performance after that. That is, of course, always the risk. Speaking from experience here, of course. So things like this have, of course, a impact on players. Kid saying that he's ready. Gonna start when the timer reaches 100. So, let's go. Alright, and the stop break is initiated. And here we go with the very first finalist attempt by Div. All eyes on him. Everybody off to a good start, and it is Kid with the best start so far. But we have Div going for a wider line, for a wider SD, and he is accumulating more speed than Kid. Div going up to first place here, but this is of course not decided yet. We are only 27 seconds into the track, so nothing's decided yet. This is going to be the battle between Kid and Div here, as always. There's Rexine lurking in the shadows, but she is losing a little bit of speed as Areo and Rexine both get some pretty weak exits out of the wall. So this is going to be the battle between Kid and Div for first place, as we have Div actually choking, but he's still on the track, but he loses speed. And this will be the rip for Div as he loses the first finalist attempt due to an early exit, a too early exit out of the looping. He drops down a little bit too early, and this will give Kid the 10 points. He is gonna cash them in, and that was, I think, a little bit of an unnecessary mistake there by Div. That could have been prevented. That could have been prevented, so that was a mistake he's probably gonna be very salty about. So, yeah. First finalist attempt went down the toilet, and we will now move on to the next track, which is Tight Fit by Rexine. Let's see if Div will keep up his nerves on a new track. Kid has done better than Div on this track. So it could be very spicy if Kid continues to deny Div every single finalist attempt, and eventually leading in a double finalist situation. That could, of course, you know, happen. So let's see. And Div with a very good warm-up, though. He is going to clock in a 55.4. Oh boy. Div's BPM is probably going a little higher. Oh, Areo with a very good time in the warm-up as well. 55.27. Will we see a third force on this track? That could, of course, be very interesting to see. Areo clocking in a very, very good time and is, of course, very, very competitive with these times. So, good luck. Finalist attempt number 2 for Div. Kid is creeping up closer with 128 points. He still needs a little bit of time, but he is there. He is there, and he will take advantage from every single mistake by Div. Here we go. First round on Teemo Tight Fit. And Div is actually off to a good start. He is doing very well, but Kid is actually coming a little bit closer. Kid is coming closer. Both getting pretty much the equal SD here. This is amazing to watch, guys. Look at this. They are so close to each other, and Kid is actually coming closer now. Kid with a little bit of a speed advantage here. Everybody getting the nosedive nicer. Now, but I think Div got the nose div a little bit nicer, and it is actually gonna look very, very good for Div here as we go into the last SD here, and Div will probably take it here unless he dies at the checkpoint. No, he's not, and here we go. GG. Div will win the match in his second finalist attempt. Finishes with a 55.23. Very, very great time there by the Swiss player. And he will be the first one to qualify himself for the grand final of the TrackMania Open Fullspeed tournament. So now this is the chance for Kid If he takes first place, he will be finalist as well, and he could make quick fashion of it, as we have Areo with a DNF already, and Rexine already 0.5 behind. It's gonna be more at this checkpoint, 0.7 already. So this is the easy 10-pointer here for the French player. Kid is most likely gonna take it here. He can take it safely. There's no need for risk at all. No need to risk anything at this point. Kid is extending his lead though, 0.9 of a second. Going up the magnet. And yes, this is looking good for the French player. AAA Kid will go up the finalist mode as well. Finishes with a 55.38. Rexine at 87. Good luck. Finalist attempt number 1 for Kid. This is round number 3 out of 4, so in case Kid makes a mistake, he can still shine on round number 4. But this time, it is actually looking really good. There's Rexine who is close by, but Kid is actually having the upper hand in terms of consistency and speed on this track. So let's see, will Kid take this one home in his first finalist attempt? It is looking good. There's a 0.1 of a second gap between Kid and Rexine already. But of course, this is not over yet. One tiny mistake and Kid could very well just fly to the moon here. Rexine is actually coming closer. Up the magnet we go. Rexine is coming closer. This might be very interesting towards the end here. Rexine just needs to risk it for the biscuit here. But Kid is not going to let that go. And he is going to finish this one as well in his first finals attempt. Finishes with a 55.26. Very great effort there by Rexine, who was only 500s behind. But this is going to be it. Div and Kid will qualify themselves for the grand final. Of course, very well deserved, judging by both of their performances. So this is the GG